Here on behalf of the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award, DJ Moore, Chicago Bears wide receiver. DJ, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing much. I'm feeling amazing. How are you?
I'm doing great. I have no complaints. I'm sure you've done a lot of these so far. I always like to ask you guys, what's the question that you've been asked that you are sick of being asked?
Who fault was it on the interception?
Yeah, like they're just trying to get a gotcha answer out of that. It's got to be.
It has to be. I don't know what they want.
Yeah, what
everybody to say. So, they want to point the blame, but that's not going to happen.
That's not how football works. You know what I'm saying? Like it's number one, you don't want to throw a teammate under the bus. Number two, it's a complicated sport. You got 11 guys trying to move as well.
Yeah.
It's a complicated sport. All right, so last year, this time, we sat down. We had a whole conversation about, your role once again changing in a new offense. We were talking about how, getting more schemed-up opportunities to run with the ball in your hands. How do you felt like this went in the first year of Ben Johnson's offense?
It went great. Like I said, I didn't have any real expectations or goals in mind for me to get to, like 1,000 yards, 100 catches, anything like that. I just was going with the flow and how the team was operating. You fall into your role when you need to, and you get a bigger role when the lights get brighter. So I was never down or too high up on myself, and just was going out there to go to work.
Yeah, and if you were to kind of describe like how your role within that offense, what would you kind of label it as?
Just keep doing you, do your job, and be the professional that you are, and just keep going out there and doing it on a consistent basis.
First year making the postseason in your entire career, which it's funny hearing people say that. It dawned on me, you've been in the league now for a minute.
Yeah.
Like I remember talking to you before you came into the league as a prospect, before you got drafted by the Panthers, and just watching your career grow and develop. The game has changed a lot, in my opinion, at least from like a schematic standpoint, from a wide receiver standpoint. What have you noticed now as I'm not going to call you an old man here, but that grizzled veteran at the position?
You definitely could tell that it's changed. It's a lot more concepts than before, and it's a lot more new age, what's it called?
Wrinkles, schematic tweaks.
Schematics, but what's I can't think of it right now. But the schematics and schemes is different. Like our scheme is totally different from what we did in Carolina when I first got there. From digits to now, you got a whole play call.
What do you mean by digits?
Like routes, we have routes based off a digit system. So you got 989, you got a go route, you got a post, and you got another go route on the outside.
Yeah, no, it's so different, and for covering it in watching the film and everything, it's really fun to see just how receivers are kind of weaponized in these offenses more than they were in 2018. By the way, it seems crazy, but 2018, that was so long ago, but it was a minute, bro. So that has been fun to watch on my side, and I'm imagining for you guys, it's been fun to see as well.
Yeah, because it's a challenge that you got to overcome because you're going from oldest new style of the NFL in 18 to now you got a whole new NFL wave of offensive coaches coming out with their own playbooks.
And what are you seeing on the defensive side to sort of combat that? That seems pretty different as well.
Shoot, you got new defenses that are being created, and you got to learn them fast so you know where everybody at. Yeah,
and I wouldn't say back then it was more lineup and play, but do you ever play the Halo games, back in the day? You remember in the first, I always say this is my analogy with it.
You used the sword, you used the cheat?
No. I'm talking about the first Halo game. Remember, you play the campaign, you spend those 2 levels fighting the flood, and it's just, God, this is hard work. And then you get back to that snow level, and it's like the aliens are back to Covenant. I haven't played the game in forever, but that felt comfortable, So now sometimes when I'm charting receivers and it's one of those more old school traditional cover 3, you're getting man coverage on the outside for some of the X receivers. This feels comfortable. I know how to evaluate this, but as a receiver, you getting separation, getting open on some of those more complicated zones and more the coverage rotations, that's a whole different – that's like fighting the flood, in my opinion.
Yeah, you definitely got to study more on the defensive side to see the disguises, where people going to be and different things, because there's new coverages out there that at first I thought it was just 1, 2, 3, 4, 6.
Yeah.
Now you got 99, 88. You got different buzz, strength calls, different things like that. And then don't even get me started on the O-line. I don't even want to go there.
What do you mean?
They got a harder job than we do. They got to see everything and mic points, different stuff. So that's pretty cool.
I would say from a quarterback perspective, it's a lot. It's pre-snap.
Yes, they have to know everything. That's why they get paid the big bucks.
Yeah, right. Exactly. You earn that money there by diagnosing those coverages and everything. So one of your what are you looking on my notes here?
No.
I said, dude, you can't even read this. This is I got terrible handwriting here. That's for sure. One of your former offensive play callers, Joe Brady, just got promoted to the head coaching job in Buffalo. There, kind of tell the people what you enjoyed about playing in Joe Brady's offense, what they can kind of expect there.
Yeah, with him, I kind of seen the new nuances to an offense when he took over the play calling when he was the OC in Carolina. So he had new routes, new concepts, everything. So I mean, it's been a joy to watch him in Buffalo with Josh and see what they've done. So their offense has been electric.
Yeah, I'm excited to see kind of – obviously he's been the play caller there for a minute, but now head coach, you get more of a say there and everything. I'm excited to see his vision come together because I think there are maybe like misunderstood aspects of his offense. People think it's kind of an offense that just throws the ball underneath. A lot of that can be due to personnel as well, so I'm excited to see what his vision looks like.
Yeah, so it might be year to year. He might open it up this year and just go bombs over Baghdad, but or it's just stay shallow or in the immediate game. So, I mean, it can go either way. How
often do you feel as a receiver that coaches are adjusting to personnel or are they kind of stuck in the scheme, or is it coach by coach?
It's coach by coach. You got a lot of coaches that go by players, and then you got coaches that go by plays, and they set the players up to be in a specific position to get the ball.
Chicago this past year in that wide receiver room, and hell, we can even extend it to the tight end room as well with Colson Loveland. As an outsider, it feels like, oh, this is a crowded room. How do I parse out on a week-by-week basis who's going to get the targets, who's going to get the opportunity? Did you feel that as well in the room, or is it give me kind of the scouting report on some of those younger guys?
They all just got to come along their own way. You can see Rome is taking his own route, and Luther is coming along. He asks a lot of questions. Go out there and just balls out. They went out there and improved. Like Colson, they all went out there and improved when the ball is in their hands. They more than deserving of it and can make something positive out of it. But it all starts with them in their playbook. So if the coaches can't trust them, they're not going out there.
Yeah, and it felt like a pretty demanding coaching staff. Yes. Again, I talked to Rome about this during the summer too. He's like, yeah, they were hard on us out there, both from a Ben Johnson perspective, Antoine Randall. It was a very demanding staff in that.
Yeah, so they demanded perfection, and we got close to it. We still some things we need to work out, and even if we did have a good practice, it was like we could take it up to another notch. So it was always something that we could get better at, and I think that's why we were as good as we were.
Yeah, and it felt like you had a lot of fun making some big plays and big moments this year. What kind of goes into that in your mindset in those situations?
I just try to have a clear mind, just not to make the moment too big, even though it's already a big moment going on around us. And just as like the vet in the room, I just be trying to stay calm because if I get too high or too low, then it might rub off on the group. And you could really tell, depending on the day that I have, the group I have.
Did you ever have a veteran like that earlier in your career that was a little more like, all right, I'm leaning on this player to sort of guide the room, as you just said you kind of did for these younger guys?
No, I never really had that. I seen it through Cam, Torrey, different people like that, and when I was on the Panthers, and just to see them go about it in different ways, I just made it my own way.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I mentioned just sort of how the league has changed a little bit from a schematic perspective. From a personnel perspective, too, we're seeing teams, including one of the teams in the Super Bowl here, the Seahawks, Rams in the NFC Championship game, who you guys played, mastering sort of in these heavier personnel packages, a lot more tight ends on the field, fewer wide receivers. The Bears are one of those teams that actually had a huge drop-off in their percentage of plays that had 3 or more wide receivers on the field. How does that change from like the receiver perspective when it gets a little bit more condensed like that?
I don't think it changed because you're always going to have a receiver on the field unless it's like a jumbo.
Sure.
All the tight ends are in, and you just want to be that receiver that is out there with them. So because it's either a pass play or a run play, and you definitely want the pass.
No doubt. Hey, you're here on behalf of the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award. Tell the people what you got going on there.
Just a lot of give backs. We had a lot of give backs with the Mortar Life Foundation this year. Different ones was Thanksgiving, Christmas give backs, and what we did a lot. It's tough to really pinpoint everything that we did, but we had camps, and it was a fun year. Everybody left with smiles and gifts, so I was pleased.
That's what it's all about, man. As long as people are leaving with smiles and gifts,
Yes.
I feel like they can be pretty excited about that. Hey, DJ, good to talk to you, man. Good to watch you this year, and good luck going forward, brother.
Thank you.
All right, man.